In today's Tokyo vlog, we are talking about ramen and then Harajuku before we jump on the famous bullet train from Tokyo to Kyoto. That's what's coming up. And if you're new here, I'm Christine Lozada. I'm on Scott Brill's Eat Japan tour with my man, Scott Golden, and we are adventuring all over Tokyo and soon Kyoto. But today we woke up in Tokyo and we headed to an area of Harajuku where we got to try two kinds of ramen, not just any kind of ramen. The first one we went to was actually a chicken ramen, and they take this chicken and they sous vide it for overnight, and then they grill it over a charcoal grill, and it has this deep chicken flavor in the ramen. Absolutely amazing. We had that first, and then we walked all around Harajuku. Harajuku, there's kind of a big area, but the area that we walked around had all kinds of delicious, freshly made rice crackers. So we went into a bunch of rice cracker shops, looked at some shrines, and just hung out walking around in the afternoon before we went over to a Michelin star ramen restaurant. Scott Brill's had to get these tickets in advance because it's a otherwise super long wait. It's not a big spot. We're talking 12 seats in the restaurant. And it's not just any kind of ramen. This is a ramen that's Chinese and Japanese style ramen. And so the chef, he's the one that's preparing everything right in front of you. And you have this amazing, amazing depth of flavor. It's like a soy sauce-based ramen, but the one that I had was a little bit on the spicier side. Things in Japan generally aren't spicy. So like the way that we would define spicy either in other Asian cultures or in the US, it's not that level of spicy. So it might be very red in color, but not spicy. We drank a ton of beers and we sat at the bar, ate the ramen, absolutely delicious. Had some dumplings as well. Those were phenomenal. So we had a double ramen kind of day, and that's where we started. This next part is one that a lot of people get excited for, and that's the bullet train. The bullet train is fast. Not only is it fast, it's super quiet, and it's just an experience in its own because it's a really nice train that's very, very clean. And lots of people like to go around Kyoto Station like collecting drinks and food and just things to enjoy on the train. And it's a very easy experience. And so we took the 2.5-hour train from Tokyo to Kyoto for our next adventures on this trip. And so one of the things, at least for me when riding on the train, is I wanted to sit on the right-hand side because as you're heading out to Kyoto, you'll be able to see Mount Fuji in the background. Super pretty. We kind of had a hazy day, so we didn't see a lot, but still a delightful experience. Drank some wine on the train. And once we got to the Kyoto side, this is when it did. I'm like, whoa. Like in Tokyo, you kind of feel like you're part of the mix a lot, depending on which part you're in. But in Kyoto, like we are a tourist in tourist town. Definitely a place suffering from over-tourism.
I'm aware that I'm adding to that.
But went to Kyoto because it's such an amazing jumping off point to so many of the awesome experiences you're about to see in these later vlogs. But once we got into Kyoto, we checked into our hotel. And given the way that Scott Golden and I had booked Scott Brill's trip, we had 2 hotel rooms. And the hotel rooms in Japan in general are not very big. They're not very big, so it was actually an excellent thing. We had rooms side by side and basically had separate bathrooms. Awesome. But stayed in our own hotel rooms in Kyoto, unpacked, and then we all went out as a group to an izakaya grill restaurant. I walked in and Scott Brill's asked me, he's like, what level of hunger are you? I was like, honestly, I'm a 1. I was not hungry at all, but I was not told that it was wagyu. So at this type of a restaurant, at this kind of izakaya grill restaurant, you have the grill in front of you and you're using the metal tongs for the raw meat, and then you're pulling the meat and vegetables off of the grill using your wooden chopsticks for actually eating it. And so we drank some Japanese sparkling wine. Japanese wine has been absolutely awesome. And ate a ton of wagyu and different vegetables. Really delightful experience. Definitely one that you're gonna not want to wear a fuzzy or furry jacket to smell afterwards. But it was such a fun way to come into Kyoto. We were staying right next to the tower, right next to the train station. And so there's just so much in that area in terms of cool bars, restaurants. There's the shrine right there, or the temple. You'll see more of that in tomorrow's vlog. See you in the next one. This is going to be the preview of tomorrow's vlog, which is going to be in Nara. Everyone always asks, Nara deer, they're so amazing. What was it like? And what would you describe the Nara deer to be like?
So the Nara deer to me were a little bit underwhelming. They had mange on them, which probably isn't a big deal, but kind of made me shy away from like full-on hugs or like petting them all the way down their backside. I just kind of tapped them on the nose a little bit gently. They were cool, but a little underwhelming. Maybe I expected something a little different in my mind.
You had beautiful deer prancing around everywhere. I
Yeah.
think I was most surprised by the quantity. Like I thought, like when we stepped out of the train and we saw one in the like intersection area, and I was like, oh my God, look, there's the deer. And then you turn around and they're like by the dozens, literally everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've never experienced that many deer up close, but one thing that kind of, I'm not going to say turn me off to it or anything, but like they're so humanized. Like they're so used to the humans that like, it's almost like seeing a tree that moves or something. Like, it's like there's tons of trees around, you just get used to them moving around a little. They were just there, and yeah, it was a neat experience. Do I want to go back again for that? I could probably do without it.
I would say going to Nara specifically for the deer is not what I would recommend going to Nara for. But I will say when you get further and further away from the main touristy areas, the deer look better and better and cuter and cuter. But the ones that are like in the parks right next to the train station, those ones need their hair did.
Yeah. They need the hair did. And also, they were a lot bigger there. Once we got out a little bit, I saw a lot more of the smaller, cuter ones. And the cuter ones were definitely a must-see. But, yeah. Oh, they did that little bow thing, too, which was cool.
Yeah, so they will bow to you if you have a biscuit and you bow to them.
They'll bow once, and then when they realize you don't have the biscuit, they'll just be like, nah, not again.
All right, that's your preview to tomorrow's vlog in Nara.